Maybe we've learned to control the atom and its incredible power, but the reality is not everyone is sold on nuclear. The Pickering Nuclear Generating Station is Canada's oldest operating nuclear facility. The domed shape of its reactors sets it apart.
So it's a much older technology. It's kind of like you have a car. You can have an old car that has a transmission and has some older parts, and Darlington's kind of like the newer model.
4 decades in and counting, operators say Pickering is safe and works to the highest standards. It cost billions to build and millions a year to operate, in exchange for the promise of cheaper, cleaner electricity.
Nuclear power is very expensive to build, but it's also very economical to operate. So once you build the power plant, your only costs are the fuel. We use fuel that is made here in Canada.
After our visit to the Darlington nuclear plant, sometimes called the Big Kahuna, inside, Pickering feels and looks different. Pickering reactors are smaller, producing around 500 megawatts each compared to around 900 megawatts per unit at Darlington. But they have 6 reactors buzzing away here compared to the 4 at Darlington. It also produces the same radioactive emissions like tritium and radiocarbon, all strictly monitored by federal inspectors.
Our emissions are well below what the government specifies and what the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission specifies. We like to say we have a social license to operate, and that means that we are part of the community.
This is their turbine hall. It's not as big as Darlington, and it feels more compact. Except when you stand next to one of the spindles that are inside the turbine. This is the thing that spins almost 2,000 times a minute to generate electricity. 2 of the reactors went offline in the 90s, and the station as a whole was supposed to shut down in 2018. But since Ontario relies so heavily on nuclear energy, the plant has applied to extend its license to operate until 2024.
That's what we're doing right now, is we're doing a lot of assessments to make sure that we can support the Ontario grid to 2024.
Canada sends millions of dollars worth of its power south of the border, and nuclear energy employs thousands.
People say that we should close Pickering down. The fact that we do produce the electricity that helps support the grid. And I think a lot of people, if they come and they do some research, understand just how important Pickering nuclear power is into Ontario.
They make a good pitch, and Pickering did receive the highest operational safety rating last year, but it's also in the middle of a growing city.
Would you fly in an airplane past its warranty without being fixed? No! We want Pickering nuclear.
Not everyone wants the plant in their backyard. These elephants are protesting the license to extend the Pickering plant. They call safety concerns the elephant in the room.
The 6 years behind us now, we still don't have a new nuclear.
On the 6th anniversary of Fukushima, dozens of community members and activists gathered on this beach to try and shut Pickering down.
I want to make sure that we have clean air for our children or our grandchildren, and that when we go to bed at night, we can sleep in peace and don't have to worry about a mishap. Shut this old nuclear station down.
We have alternative ways of meeting our electricity needs. And nuclear power, when an accident happens, it's catastrophic. Why risk it? There's no need.
Even though emissions from the plant, specifically the carcinogen tritium, are below standards, Angela still wants the plant gone.
100 kilograms of tritium is released every day through water vapor.
And people swim here and fish here. I wouldn't.
Environmentalists are pretty split on nuclear power. Since it doesn't produce greenhouse gases, some say we need it to fight climate change. Others say it's not worth the risk. Residents of Pickering may have just gotten used to it. Dave and Pina have been living here for almost a decade.
Is shutting the plant the answer? I'm not entirely sure that it is the answer. I think the plant has had benefits, and we still have a lot to learn. So shutting it down, I'm not so sure that is the right answer. What do you think, David?
And we joke about fish glowing in the dark and having 3 heads and stuff, but it's all humorous, right? So I don't think anybody believes or has any real concern about it.
Today, we take power for granted. but we expect it to be there all the time. We don't, we get really upset when, we have a power outage or it disrupts our day-to-day life.
Ontario is dedicated to nuclear energy for now, and plants probably aren't shutting down anytime soon. Stephanie says it's the best option for meeting our power demands.
Things such as renewables and to a certain extent hydroelectric, when you have a peak, you can you operate them, but when the peak, such as in the middle of the night, they can actually back off on their electricity. So nuclear power is very important in Ontario to support the baseline that we need to ensure that everybody has their electricity.
For now, as our dependence on power grows, people and plants may have to exist side by side. But for all nuclear's promises, the big problem is, what do we do with the radioactive waste?